have other thousands of people in Spokane County who haven't been willing to get this vaccine. That's very discouraging, and it needs to change.
Right now on Up with KREM, Governor Jay Inslee calls on those who don't have a COVID vaccine to get the shot.
Kootenai Health says their chief of staff is painting a grim picture after reporting the highest number of monthly COVID-19 deaths.
We had this many COVID patients in an ICU setting.
We're taking you outside, a little bit of cloud cover to start the day. Ooh, it's 7:30 and 45 degrees. I'm going to let you know just how we climb all the way up to 70 this afternoon.
Up with KREM begins now.
Right now, Washington State is seeing a 25% surge in COVID-19 vaccinations, and that's according to the Department of Health.
Nearly 5 million Washington residents have received at least one dose. That's about 76% of the eligible population. Well, good morning and thanks for joining us on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
Glad to have you here with us. I'm Tim Pham. With the deadline looming, Washington leaders are addressing concerns about a worker exodus because of the vaccine mandate.
Now, state employees have until Monday to get the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine if they're not already vaccinated. And there's some concern that we could lose not only healthcare workers, but first responders like police officers and firefighters if they choose not to get vaccinated.
Washington's state health secretary hopes people will look at the bigger picture.
We hope that people recognize that we're in this profession also not just for ourselves, but it's also about mission work and also helping protect the very people that we are charged with helping and serving.
Now, he also says healthcare positions are extremely difficult to fill and retain right now and is urging everyone to get vaccinated.
Governor Inslee visited a hospital, meanwhile, in Spokane to talk with healthcare workers about the pandemic. On Wednesday, he called on the people who don't have the COVID vaccine to get the shot.
Now, the governor says hospitals in eastern Washington are being pushed to the brink and that they're seeing a surge in COVID patients from Idaho, where the vaccination rate lags behind the rest of the Northwest.
We have been good neighbors helping our friends in Idaho. As governor of Washington, it is frustrating that politicians in Idaho are not helping on this subject.
Governor Inslee says Washington's COVID vaccination rate is 16% higher than Idaho's. The vaccination rate in Spokane County is 13% higher than Kootenai County. Meanwhile, Idaho Governor Brad Little visited Coeur d'Alene.
Now, he toured the antibody treatment center run by Heritage Health yesterday, and the center opened earlier this month to help treat COVID-19 patients. The treatment uses lab-made antibodies that help your body's immune reaction in the fight against COVID-19.
The site at the Kootenai County Fairgrounds can handle 6 patients at a time. Little says the center frees up more resources for hospitalized patients in the state.
If you get into a bad car wreck or you have a heart attack, you're going to get care, but it's close right now. What you're not going to get is the elective or discretionary surgery that's necessary, and we just can't do that for very long, and that's why what Heritage is doing up here is so important.
Yesterday, doctors at Kootenai Health treated 115 COVID-19 patients, 41 of them in critical care and 17 on ventilators.
This marks more than 2 weeks of more than 110 COVID patients at Kootenai Health. Health leaders reported 34 deaths from COVID this month.
Very disheartening, very surprising. I'm trying to choose the right word. I've signed a lot of death certificates in the last couple months, and a lot of death certificates of young people that I don't think should have been hospitalized. I think that this in my mind is a very preventable disease.
Right now, Idaho remains in crisis standards of care, and this means limited care to patients.
Some people are even being treated in non-traditional spaces at Kootenai Health, like conference rooms. Federal resources deployed to the hospital will stay there until November.
For more information on COVID-19 in both Washington and Idaho, you can always text the word COVID to 509-448-2000 and we'll send a link right to your phone.
All right, the time is now 7:34. Let's get a look at the forecast on this last day of September.
Last day of September, already feeling like fall though.
Already it is.
So who wakes up Billy Joe Armstrong?
Huh?
What?
the lead singer of Green Day. He said, "Wake me up
when September ends."
Yeah, I don't actually know the answer.
Somebody has to be in charge.
Get that song going.
I know.
Yeah,
It's a good song.
wake me up.
Sing it.
When September ends.
That was
Time to
lovely.
wake up.
Yeah, all right, there you go. Time to wake up. September's ending today. Billy Joe Armstrong, get up. We're heading into October, but we've got one last day up near 70 before we dive into the 10th month of the year. And it's the spooky month. Love it. October, one of the best. 45 degrees right now here in Spokane. The dew point of 40 means we're on the way up this morning now that the sun's rising. 43 in Coeur d'Alene, 39 in Sandpoint, and 47 in both Moses Lake and Wenatchee. We'll see wind pick up across the region as we close out the 9th month of the year. Throughout the morning, light, variable. By the time we hit the middle part of the day, you'll notice the wind picking up. I'll be standing outside at noon going, look at the leaves rustle. And by this afternoon, we'll see wind gusts up near 20 miles per hour across the inland northwest, 30 miles per hour in central Washington. You can see a little bit of activity, a couple of showers trying to get squeezed out of the atmosphere. For the most part, that's going to hold off until later on this afternoon, this evening, or tonight. That's as our front slides through the region. And we'll see those showers from Tri-Cities, Ritzville up towards Spokane by about 9:30 or 10 tonight, eventually tapering off at about midnight and then moving out, opening the door for a clear start to the day tomorrow. But here's how it breaks down for us. Temperatures, up near 70 later on this afternoon. We'll just go ahead and call it partly cloudy today. And then tonight, mostly cloudy, rain, and tomorrow, a cool and foggy start to the day.
At 7:36, it is time for your morning rush. More news in less time.
Right now, there are more than 60 wildfires burning across the United States, across 3 million acres. Washington Congresswoman Kim Schreier participated in a House subcommittee hearing yesterday to discuss how to better mitigate these wildfire threats to communities. Schreier says the key is to focus on ways to make forests healthier.
A recent report from the Washington Department of Natural Resources identified 3 million acres of forest lands just in our state alone in need of reforestation. Significant percentage of those acres are in my district in rural central Washington, including about 700,000 acres in the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest. And the towns here are some of the
Congresswoman
most
also says that mills could help improve the
locations
health
for wildfire in the nation.
Looking ahead tomorrow, the post office is raising prices and slowing down some deliveries. About 30% of first-class mail and packages could take up to 5 days to arrive instead of 2 or 3 days. Starting Sunday through Christmas, postage rates are going up anywhere from 25 cents to $5 per package. The changes are being made to cut the service's massive debt.
The Spokane Indians partnered with No Lie Brewhouse for a fundraiser for the Spokane River and the Red Band Rally campaign last night. Red Band Rally beer bats were sold for $20, and money from the event will be used to preserve the healthy habitat within the Spokane River for the Spokane's Red Band rainbow trout population. Indian Senior Vice President Otto Klein says the Indians will work with the community to decide the best ways to use the funds.
It's all about building up the fund. Whether we do it with beer bats, whether we do it with jerseys, whether we do it with the hats, it doesn't matter. As much as money as we can raise for the Spokane River, it helps the entire community, and that's what we want.
Over 200 people showed up to the event. Now the Indians are also holding an online auction which ends today. You can find out more information on what's being auctioned off on the Spokane Indians website.
This massive string of 20 KC-135s just made history at Fairchild. They performed the biggest minimum interval takeoff tactics in the base's history. It's when a tanker or bomber takes off in 12 to 15 second intervals. Before taking off, they participate in what's called an elephant walk, and that's where they line up in a row like you just saw there. In total, 20 jets took off from the base on Wednesday.
And that's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
A warning from the CDC why they say it's imperative for pregnant women to get the vaccine.